I'm supposed to talk about sports for a little bit, and sports and cross marketing are relatively new to each other. Even though some aspects of sports marketing of athletes, is ancient. We can think of in this city here the use of Babe Ruth and the Baby Ruth candy bar from the 20s and 30s as being an effort to capitalize on a player's notoriety. Also, at the same time, in the 1890s, 1900s, or in the early years, baseball players, professional Major League Baseball players, pictures adorned tobacco products, candy products, and the baseball card, the trading card, was invented at that time, which now comes to us wrapped with a infinitely small piece of bubble gum. But the trading card and such things have been used in baseball very widely. Sports marketing, cross-marketing, really involves several different fields. First of all, you have the world of the individual team sports. This is where the individual athlete gains very significant notoriety with respect to their accomplishments in games like tennis and golf and other non-team activities. This is Tiger Woods. This is the various tennis players, Federer and such. They go out and make their own deals with the sporting goods manufacturers, with product lines, and make an awful lot of money. Nike pays tens of millions of dollars to some athletes, and you can see these athletes, and the deal is that the athlete signs with a Nike, for example, and agrees to use Nike products or a list of Nike products, and that the Nike logo be shown almost everywhere they go during every working hour. That the classic example of how you get clashes in this type of marketing is when the athlete who is signed by, say, a Nike is appearing on an event that is sponsored by, say, Adidas. It's like the Olympic Games. And you have people go out, and Adidas has a rule that wherever there's a broadcast of the Olympic event, basketball game, you can't show the Nike logo. I mean, it makes sense to me. And so this is the classic example of a Michael Jordan being made to stand in a team photo with a jersey draped over the Nike logo. He was trying to, or exposing a Nike logo in an ambush of the Adidas marketing activity. This also leads to a certain number of efforts to rip off the image of the athlete by showing silhouettes and other sort of images that mimic the athlete without actually paying the athlete. Tiger Woods apparently was like this, but my favorite case is a case involving the former Brooklyn Dodger pitcher Don Newcomb, in which a silhouette of him delivering a pitched baseball was used in an advertising campaign, and he came and actually won some money based on the fact that this was obviously an identifiable use of his persona. The more interesting part, an interesting part of the use of individual player marketing is the effort on the part of the player to restrict the limitations placed by a brand on his activities, his or her activities, and the effort by the brand to lock up the player in exclusivities and to not allow the player to dilute the marketplace by advertising for other products. And this is the negotiation that goes on pretty much, and is an interesting thing to take a look at. Players advertising the brands are searching the world constantly for the up-and-coming stars, and they like very much to get them very early and sign them very long. And I know that every time I see a new college football coach hired, I know that right behind that college president who is signing that contract is the Nike or other football shoe manufacturer running in to sign up that coach for an exclusive shoe contract for that team. So this is trading on the entire team wearing a branded shoe, and is very valuable for the brands. They like to, and the brands, by the way, they sign both for the publicity value and for the deniability. They like to keep the other brands out of the marketplace, so that both of those elements go on. In team sports, things get a little more complicated. A baseball player, Alex Rodriguez, for example, a large component of his very excellent marketing appeal is the fact he plays for the New York Yankees. Now, that immediately combines two IP issues. First of all is the use of actually three. First is the use of Alex Rodriguez, the person, as a spokesman for a product. The next is the fact that Alex Rodriguez is a member of the Major League Baseball Players Association, and that association has certain rights to player persona, especially the use of the Yankees as a team and groups of Yankees in their marketing activities. And then there's the use of the Yankee intellectual property itself. Can he appear on an ad with the intertwined NY on a cap, or the name Yankees or New York or two or whatever you want to show? And this involves a rather interesting negotiation between these parties to sort out the various rights. It's interesting, you never think of the number 2 being an IP issue, but it can be when that 2 is presented on a pinstripe jersey in block blue, letter, number on a pinstripe jersey. It suddenly becomes identifiable as Alex Rodriguez shirt. So that's one issue there. In terms of colleges also have become enormously important and valuable marketing tools. The college football, college basketball being the big two. But this is very easy for them because here is a situation in which you simply have to gain rights from the individual, from the college, or through the collegiate licensing organization to use their marks on T-shirts and other products. They're working very hard at this. The National Collegiate Marketing and Licensing Associations do a great job in controlling this marketplace and promoting the various teams. This is an easy situation because the players are amateurs and they are frankly prohibited from receiving significant pay for promoting their activity as a player, which would make them a professional and in their eligibility. So that's the easiest world there. Then you get to the Olympic Games. The Olympics is a spin-off of the individual sports. You get people in luge and bobsledding and various ski jumpings and fencing, and it goes on and on. These people all profit by their participation, and the negotiation there is fairly straightforward. You go and try to pay them a lot of money. I think that's a pretty easy deal, but in the background, the reason sports has become so huge in the marketing world is because of the advent of cable television and the internet. And I come from the world before cable television and the internet, and of course now live in the world of cable television and the internet. And my activities in marketing baseball prior to the advent of 100-channel cable systems, you simply didn't have an opportunity to really promote the player. To combat that, we went, for example, to create a show called in Major League Baseball called This Week in Baseball, where we took videotape and we put highlights on, and through a barter deal, put out a show that was sold on a barter basis to the television stations around the country that promoted baseball players and highlights of baseball players. And that was, again, 1/2 hour on Saturday very often throughout the country. Now that you have cable and the huge demands for the differentiated programming that sports provides, you have athletes exhibited as icons constantly around the clock, and this has created a huge demand for their use, their personas in marketing activities. And this comes from, quite frankly, the demands for content by cable systems and the use of the internet to promote the various exploits of famous athletes, which are shown ad infinitum. I mean, you can see the same guy hitting the same home run 30 times before 9 o'clock in the morning, where 25 years ago, for example, that was absolutely impossible. Sports will continue to be a major source of cross-marketing opportunities as players learn the value of their personas and clubs learn that promoting the player persona is beneficial to their own business as well. So we'll talk a little later. Thanks.